But what I do is I make sure that people are comfortable with me and can understand that I am not bothered by it and they shouldn't be, that I'm going to proceed about my day and do my thing. They shouldn't have to worry or feel like they're walking on eggshells around me. And I think a lot of that is just in the way you meet people. There's a certain confidence that you need to have. And that's not an easy thing when you've been through a life-changing event like this, to develop that kind of confidence. Certain common understanding, no matter what the disability might be, I think that we all share. And one of the things, I don't know if it, what your thoughts are on this, but I much prefer people who, because everybody's curious, right? When everybody meets you, they want to know how this happened or why you're in a chair or whatever the case may be. But a lot of times they'll dance around that subject. And it actually, to me, that's more awkward than just asking. I mean, I don't know if it's the first question you should ask somebody who's in this situation, but it's okay to ask. And I try to encourage people to understand that I don't mind talking about it and explaining it. It gets old explaining how it happened over and over again. Sometimes I tell them just look it up on Google, but that's okay. People are curious. They understand that when people, it's just different, and human beings are curious that way. There are subtle little cues that people are always telling you that somehow you're not at the top of the food chain here, or whatever you want to say. You're right. As a white, elite, privileged American, able-bodied, I'm on top of the world, right? Or was on top of the world. But now I'm different, and I'm in a different category, and I don't mind it a bit. I mean, I think it's really important to challenge people's perceptions of that. I make a point of never hiding my disability when I'm on television. I want people to, I want there to be stories that involve people like you and me, where we're just out there telling our stories, and it's not about our disability. It's about the story. And this happens to be told by a person who has a hook for an arm or uses a wheelchair to get around. That helps me feel like I have purpose, and I'm performing my mission, and I can overlook a lot of the ways that people might want to try to judge me because I'm different. Being honest, I think I would have faced all kinds of barriers back in 1982 when I began to become a one-armed television reporter. There is a sense of purpose and determination that we all need to have, and a desire to meet our goals, and really just the rest of the world be damned. They will tell you what you can and cannot do. I wouldn't get into an argument with them because I just watch me. Just watch me. And so I think we all need to get out there and let people watch us. Watch us do our thing. Watch us be successful. Watch a woman such as yourself travel to all corners of the world and not be at all fazed by that. That's a statement. That's a huge statement. There's a certain amount of irony. If you think about what I do for a living, my entire career has been built around the idea that I want people to stare at me, right? Because that's what TV people do, right? So for me, it was kind of interesting to be stared at in that way. People can't help themselves, and they have to kind of latch on, and they look at you, look at the stump, and they don't even know they're doing it. And it can be a little bit invasive, to say the least. But mostly, if I catch people doing that, if I see somebody doing that, I'll say, hey, this happens occasionally, and here I am, and you have any questions? And that usually kind of breaks them out of their spell and disarms them from, or puts them in a different place. I think what's really important when you're meeting people who, of course, immediately are, noticing it and looking at it, et cetera, is, I don't necessarily come in and tell my story of why I have one arm immediately. But what I do is I make sure that people are comfortable with me and can understand that I am not bothered by it, and they shouldn't be. That I'm going to proceed about my day and do my thing, and they shouldn't have to worry or feel like they're walking on eggshells around me. And I think a lot of that is just in the way you meet people. There's a certain confidence that you need to have, and that's not an easy thing when you've been through a life-changing event like this, to develop that kind of confidence. Once I demonstrated all those things to myself and I knew I could do them, then I had a certain inner confidence about my abilities. And I think people pick up on that. They pick up on if you're nervous or insecure or self-conscious, they immediately pick up on that. And that becomes kind of a death spiral in the relationship. But if you come in and you treat them as you would normally, and you show them that you're there for a specific purpose, and you don't need any special accommodations necessarily, unless I ask. I think people get comfortable with it, and that's all part of what I've been talking about. This idea of normalizing what is abnormal, after all, right? This is not something you see every day, but people shouldn't be focused on it. They shouldn't latch onto that as the defining element of my life. And I want them to understand that I am a person who's doing a job, who's meeting them to conduct an interview, who happens to be a one-arm person, not the one-arm reporter in that hierarchy, if that makes any sense. So I'm 61 years old. I'm a boomer. I think in my lifetime, the way people address and perceive disability has changed significantly. I mean, I think it was much more of a hidden thing. When I was young in school, we didn't have any, kids weren't mainstreamed at all, right? There was no one different in the classroom, really, very unusually. And now it's changed. It's taken a lot of time, and there's still all kinds of prejudiced notions on this, and preconceived ideas about what we can and cannot do. But I don't think my kids, who are millennials, view disability in the same way that I did when I was young. I think it's just another thing. It's a feature. It's another unusual thing about a person for them. People want to judge and define us all the time, right? And that goes for able-bodied or not, right? That's just the way human beings are. And so it's really up to us as individuals, whatever our body shape or our situation is, to define ourselves, period. At full stop. We are in charge of our own definitions, and we judge ourselves, right? We have our own moral compass, and we have our own idea of what is important and where our passions lie and what we want to pursue.